What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
But I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state. I think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely. You know, I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Well, I know a lot of good people across the country that are spending a lot of money on medical marijuana. And the election is all about cannabis 2020, at least in the Democratic primary. You think Donald Trump is going to get the hint? Somebody in the mainstream media does. The FDA still wants your comments. You've got until March 14th. We're going to read some on the show. We're going to read ours. This is Reefer Revolution Live. What are we smoking, folks? Careful, Brando. No texting and driving. No chatting and driving.
This is the time to go all in on cannabis.
It's true. You know who's all in? The people over at WeTV, the Cannabis Media Network.
What if there was a natural product that was clinically proven to help with chronic pain, anxiety, and PTSD, had no psychoactive effects, and was non-addictive and legal in all 50 U.S. states? Well, there is.
Our veterans receive the best trauma care in the world. But what do they get when they're coming home? I've been prescribed a lot of different medications from the VA, and they try to make you better, but it only makes you worse.
The over-medication of our veterans is leading to opioid addiction, and it's a contributing factor to the suicide rate in the veteran community.
I've lost more friends to suicide since I've been out than I lost in combat.
Legislation is pending in the U.S. Congress, which will mandate that the VA study the effects of CBD oil derived from industrial hemp.
Call your congressional representatives and demand that they vote yes on the Medicinal Hemp Act.
We're American veterans,
and we approve this message.
What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It is indeed 420. I'm Dave Conan, and this is Reefer Revolution Live, the show where we spark up. That's we. I hear a we in the background sparking up. Ooh, on some gelato, indeed. This show, we might as well bring that cannabis consumer on camera.
Hello.
Hello. We
Hi.
are sparking up. Coach Chela is here.
I am.
We have got, I think I've lost my fire here. I need to
spark
up.
No.
I need to spark up again.
You would never. Hi, everybody.
We are smoking on some gelato. We are smoking on some hash. What kind of hash was that? I don't know what kind of hash.
I don't know. We got 4.
Just look at the label.
4 grams on sale.
It was a deal.
At the dispensary. It was amazing.
You can find deals occasionally.
I still have to pay $1 million in taxes, but still. Even though I'm a medical patient.
There's no deals on taxes, even for medical patients here in the state of California.
No.
At least not easily, that's for sure.
No.
What's up, everybody? Folks jumping in the chat already. Seeing small tubes over there. Blaster Master in the house. Vegan
Brian
Metro.
Wilkinson.
Excellent. Ellen Blasey. Brian Wilkinson.
Happy Guy.
It's like first in. Happy Guy is in there.
Daily Dope Show.
Daily Dope on the road. Driving, be careful there, brother.
Did you say Blaster Master already?
I did, but you can say Blaster Master again. Pointing out that indeed Tulsi gets her
and Mason 662.
town hall tonight.
That's true. Tulsi's having her town hall. MDN Niles, hi all.
Blaster Master very concerned about our air riser.
It's back there. It's all good.
It's okay.
It'll be all right.
It's in the BG right now. We're in transition. A lot of transitioning going on.
Yeah, it's safer over
these days. So we're giving the air riser a little break. We do need some new bags, and we're going to take care of that. But we're giving the air riser a new break. We're back to joints.
Yep.
Some lovely gelato. Saw an interesting podcast. A lot of light on the weed. That's the problem. I don't have a lot of maybe over here.
Because my lighting's so much better. If it's over here.
There it is.
There you go. Nice.
Nice gelato.
It is a nice gelato.
Purple. It's just gorgeous.
You guys, I've really been enjoying my Harlequin, which is a very high CBD strain, and it's been just delightful. And I love having both around in my life, because when I have a bowl of the gelato, it's like, whoa, it's gelato.
Vegan Metro, this might be the most stoned I've been in a long time at the start of the stream. Now, you just smoked a bowl, brother. What's going on? What are you smoking?
Yeah, what do you got?
What are you smoking? Hit that thumbs up. Thanks, Vegan Metro.
Cool, yo.
Some of the best indica
everybody.
I've had has been
Alex.
classic gelato. Yeah. Well, gelato won, I believe, if I remember correctly, or was very close to winning one of the categories at the Emerald Cup this year. I think that's correct.
The air riser's fine. We're using it. Dave's using it mostly in place back there in the background at the station where it works usually.
I use it as a hookah in the hookah sort of
hookah
mode, which I find very effective when I'm cruising around our little small kitchen. There's Oscar cruising around in the background.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Cannabis Canines are in chill mode, and we got a lot of news this week. Whew, it's just every week.
We save the air riser leftovers in a jar.
We do.
For I don't know what for, but something. One day it will be. We don't throw them away. We save them for something else. I don't know what.
Oh, and we'll with the kids. Stay tuned. There's the adventures of Dave and Chela and Reefer Revolution from the ground up, becoming cannabis growers and farmers and long-time smokers, first-time growers.
Essentially. Really? I mean, we are living in a place where
about time to start.
It's the backyard of a friend, and there's something to be negotiated there. They're not exactly all in on cannabis like the rest of us, but I'm sure we can, exercise our basic rights. But yeah, it's an exciting time. They definitely want soil, so I think we can do something.
Yeah, we can do something. If I can get the dirt factory going, the soil factory going, without actually doing it, we'll see. We'll take it one step at a time. It's all good. We're going to grow something small, if nothing else. In a little tent or something. But Alex Kane Bosom in the house. Vegan Metro, orange cookies with a mix of some mystery weed. It's always that mystery weed that gets you. Is what he's super high on. Is what I'm referring to. We're getting there too. We're on our way for sure. As we prepared for the show all day today, we had our pre-show snack, so we're fueled up in that respect. Going out over the multi-stream, folks, as opposed the multiverse and the multi-stream, going out over YouTube, Periscope, Facebook. We are going out over Facebook again today, guys. Welcome, Facebook viewers, if you're out there. Say hi in the chat. I'll say hello to you. Also,
Periscope. I didn't share it around. I'm sorry.
It's all right. We were the first time back on Facebook.
I didn't share the Facebook around.
Facebook is supposedly in the news this week. Facebook is supposed to be loosening up their cannabis shadow banning or whatever it is they're doing.
They're not. I wasn't allowed to share the FDA comments.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
I wasn't allowed to boost, rather, the FDA comments. From either account.
And we're going to talk about those. Did you guys comment on the FDA this week?
Yes. Did you guys do your homework?
Left. If you did, you can tweet your comment out or tweet your link to your comment. Did they send you a link? I didn't look at my email.
I got a receipt.
Did they send you a link to your comment? So can you click
I got
on that
a
link
receipt.
and I'll check mine and see if I can get to my. It's a receipt, but I'm wondering if it takes you to your comment.
I don't know.
But over 1,300 comments so far, guys. Last week it was under 300. About 271, I think, last week when we went off the air.
I still want more than that. That's not a very many.
It's not a very many. But I also want to say we're also going out over D Live. Welcome viewers over there on D Live. We all are multi-streaming. A riser is like a coffee pot, a must-have. I like the mix. I like the variable ways of consuming. We don't have a dab rig. Probably never get a dab rig. We enjoy that at the bars, at the dab bars, which more are coming, more are on the way. It's very exciting.
We'll enjoy that out. Our house is too small for that, all that stuff. As it is, it's like I had a little fit about it this week, like with so much paraphernalia and stuff.
It's a very dynamic week. Sometimes I mix, Blaster Master here, sometimes I mix my air riser leftovers with weed and just smoke it. Doesn't taste great, but feel like it properly uses it up. I do that as well, Blaster Master.
Oh.
And I find you also get a little bit more of some of the terpenes and some of the stuff that hasn't boiled off yet. You might be able to use it to, if you want to conserve cannabis, use it to maybe mix with your joints.
You say that like conserve?
Conserve cannabis. Hey, listen, we've had our low points.
Of course we have.
Jars at the end. Jars at the end. Oh
the
my
end
God.
of the jars. Oh, we're almost out of weed. Look, there's only
weed.
a quarter giant jar left. God, we're such entitled people in the land of Ganjaville.
And we've got two amazing dispensaries, less than a mile and a half a mile
Super
away.
close. Yeah, we went out to Art Night last night, and we ran into our closer dispensary, Green Earth Collective. After going to the other dispensary that we'd really love to go to, which is Cornerstone Research Collective.
Two great dispensaries right
really
here. Really
good, super close.
Eagle Rock area.
Yeah, and they have good storefronts. Cornerstone, I think, has a deeper medicinal understanding, and Green Earth delivers.
Oh, I like their slogan. What is Cornerstone's slogan?
Oh, no.
I just read it last night.
I don't know. But that Cannabis Pharmacy book,
look on the bag.
Next to Dave over there, behind Dave, is written by the owner of Cornerstone Research Collective. So there you go.
Cannabis Pharmacy. Great book.
We're super stoked to be living in the land of ganja.
Ganjafornia. That video's coming, I promise, soon.
Yeah.
Soonish. At least it's for sure to the patrons. We're to the patrons. Thanks, patrons, very much. If you guys do want to become a patron, I'll drop the Patreon link in the chat at some point during the show, as well as the Streamlabs. But if you want to just share the show, give us a thumbs up. That's really the best thing you could do, because this is a medical and recreational cannabis show originating from the great state of California, where it is legal to do both.
Yep.
And you know, as we say, when you recreate, you medicate. We definitely believe that it's a dual process of homeostasis going on in your body. That's why we need to redefine a lot of things in this landscape of legalization, and the patients being swept under the rug or tilled into the dirt, as it were, in this green rush. Reefer Revolution, did you play with the saturation settings, or am I just stoned? The stream color looks much more vivid.
Dave, you're more vivid than I.
We have a little extra lighting going on. I don't know what's going on. You have a nice Chela
I like
the blast coming in right next to her. We're literally right next to each other.
The time changed,
and we look in different. Oh, the time changed. That's true. I bet you that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but DC
Totally.
Gaming Pro 64, I was trying to type an answer to, but it's just too long.
Say it.
Gabbard introduced her two bills this week.
That's right.
So that's really exciting nationally, and lots of stuff is happening all over the country. What part of the country are you in?
Gabbard, you saw Gabbard's press conference with Representative Don Young.
Yeah, from Alaska.
Member, vice chair of the Cannabis Caucus, the largest caucus of cannabis in the Congress to date.
Wow.
That was, we had that live here at the show. Make sure you subscribe, get notifications for when we do go live, because we do go live occasionally during the week, not just on Sunday at 4:20. Welcome to Slow News Day.
Hey, Slow News Day.
Just going to bring you guys up. It was really awesome having you on the show as well. So we had some funky, we were on your show.
We were on their show.
We had some funky tech happen, but I just got to call to pick up the complete show. Awesome. Uploading soon. Thanks again. Great. Fantastic. Yes, indeed. We hung out. We did it to Steve over there at Slow News Day and made him do a 2-hour show. So looking forward to that going up. We had a lot of fun. Talked about a lot of great stuff. And really appreciate you having us on your show. It's Slow News Day. So
Slow News Day, Mercury's in retrograde, so technical glitches are to be expected in this time.
I find Mercury to be in retrograde an awful lot. It's only supposed to happen 4 times a year, right?
A few times a year. Mm-hmm.
A few? Is this just an estimate?
I can't remember. I try not to pay too much attention to these things, but during Mercury in retrograde, I do try to be a little more forgiving of technical glitches, and I follow up emails with phone calls and stuff like that.
Oh, Cannabis Sativa writing an excellent headline. You should be one of our headline writers. No smoke going up in smoke in Florida. They had a state Senate vote. That's right. That's in the news roundup, the roll-up, the afterburn, the news afterburn. Some news coming out of Florida. The Senate voting on getting smoking back into realm of possibility in Florida for medicine. How nice of them to be able to smoke. But this is something they've done. You know, Pennsylvania did it and then changed their mind. And now you can smoke marijuana, you can smoke medical cannabis in Pennsylvania, as you should be able to do. And it's been much better for them. So that is indeed good news. Mercury is always in Gatorade nowadays. Yes, it's true. It's all fake anyway. Space is fake. Did you watch the fake SpaceX stuff? Oh my God. James Cameron, we know what he's been doing for the past few years.
He's vegan now too.
Working on that stuff. That was pretty exciting. I watched that. But yeah, Tulsi was here. We had her live, and we also had live here on the show. The LA City Council met this week to vote on to move forward on Phase 3 in Los Angeles licensing before implementing and fully funding the social equity program. There was a partial win at the city council, but essentially I believe they're moving forward with the process and will start licensing more outside entities to start growing and distributing and selling cannabis. They're apparently very afraid here in California that they're going to run out of legal weed by the summer. So I think that's behind them wanting to get their licenses pushed forward, but they are definitely not living up to the promises made under Prop 64, under social equity, and what should be being done in Los Angeles. And there were some very vocal activists down there at the council meeting, and we're going to play some of those, some colorful ones, but we're not going to play those. That was another issue, but we have some. There were cannabis activists down there, equity applicants, and folks talking about this unfair process, outside influence, special interests, getting into. We're talking corporate cannabis, of course, what we're talking about, and they want to slow down the process and get the equity.
Aligned, get it in line and get it going, get it funded and moving.
Yeah, and you know, if it takes a little longer to get, you know, if we run out of legal cannabis, MedMen will absorb. Don't worry.
Well, there are others who are kind of like we were when we were opening the bookstore, just kind of like, you know, just have barely enough money to kind of make it happen and want to get the show on the road. And so one of the folks was like, you know, I've spent a lot of money on my property. I really would like you to keep moving forward on this so that I don't have to keep spending money without making any money. So it was, you know, and I understand that. And, you know, the guy who spoke at the meeting was, of course, an equity applicant. So it kind of made it was like, oh man, there are equity applicants on one side of the equation that want it to move forward and like, come on, let's go already. And then there are equity applicants that are like, but wait, most of us are being left behind. And so it's a tricky situation, but we called to ask for it to be slowed down, you know.
They removed amendment one of the J part of it. And,
the buyout
part, so that they couldn't just be sold off to. Or rather, the equity applicants would have basically first right of first refusal of who they sell their company to if they sell it to somebody. I'm sure there's more to that, but it was a win for equity activists that happened, and it was good that the council was able to take that out of there. Yes, RBU, the clocks have changed. Thank you, RBU, by the way, very much for your continued support of the show in the chat and everywhere. And indeed, yes, our clocks have changed. And who knows, if we get a President Yang, we may end all of daylight savings across the country. I think that's one of the things he wants to do.
What happened? I thought we ended it in California. I don't understand.
You know, I thought we ended it in California too. I don't quite understand. Is it implemented in like 10 years or something? Or I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Hey, Laura P., you're not late. You're never late, and it's never done.
That's right.
You're never wrong, and it's never done. And what is this DK gaming?
Vegan Metro. It's
60
really
days of what's the rumor of 60 days of legalization? What does that mean exactly? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Enlighten us if you would. We'll look it up. If I do find something to that.
Yeah. What rumor?
You know, what rumor? If I do find something like that, I will probably tweet it out over at DC420LA on the Twitter, where I do most of my tweeting. I don't do any Instagramming on Twitter. You can't do that apparently. But I do tweeting on Twitter.
On Instagram, you can Facebook and Twitter.
Yes. Okay. Well, pretty soon it's all going to be one It'll be the
oh God, it's all so annoying,
the
you
Toward
guys.
book or something. I don't know.
Ugh.
But also at Reefer Rev Show, we're basically at those on all of the socials, either Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, at DC420LA and at Reefer Rev Show. Follow us there. And you can also stay on top of the news that we find interesting every week and what we talk about for the first hour here on Reefer Revolution Live. What's going on in the week? And I put that newsletter out on Sunday mornings. Guess what? It was a little late this morning. And it had nothing to do with daylight savings at all.
We sprang forward.
It comes out Sunday morning, so you can enjoy a Cannabis Chronicle Sunday, and then you'll be up to date on what we're going to chat about here at 420 for the first hour. And that's at DC420LA.com. You can follow along and sign up for the newsletter over there. And I found this story to be, now we talk about this a lot.
Yeah, we've been musing about this for a while.
This week's pot politics theme in the mainstream media, digital print media, is full of the things that we discuss here every week at Reefer Revolution Live. That the Democratic Party is going to embrace cannabis in 2020, and they better. And I think there's only very few outliers, and they're not running. So we knew that was going to happen. So that's all over the news this week. And the other thing we said was that this issue crosses over so many lines and so many demographics and so many political stripes that it's a win for anybody that brings it up. And we chatted earlier in the year that the Democrats, if they don't embrace it and really be bold and move forward with this, and the Republicans take it up, which they've done in the states, and if they do that nationally, and Trump starts to come out a little more, at least talking about it, that's going to be an issue. And that is exactly the story that came up this week in The Observer. Now we all know, or at least we have an idea of who publishes The Observer, who's behind The Observer.
Tell the people, for those who don't know.
Well, it's a family business, I think, sort of. And if it is a conservative, or I'm gonna find out. It's Kushner. Right? It's pretty much Kushner, right? So, what to do when Donald Trump says he supports marijuana legalization? And it is a fascinating article that, in a very colorful way, looks at the Democrats that are taking hold of it and puts it out there into the zeitgeist to think about. At some point, someone's going to ask them about it because all the Democrats are doing it, and one of them's even making it his number one issue, Cory Booker. Although Bernie Sanders came out, it's high up on his list as well. Most of the others are either being dragged along or reluctant to the party. So what we have here is a major issue that's going to be talked about during the debates in May and June, and it's then it's going to be brought up to Donald Trump, and he's already said he's going to he would support the States Act, publicly within the last year. He's gotten rid of Sessions.
He said it privately. We've heard
to Gardner
recently,
right? Barr
needs a win.
Barr is a Reagan warrior, drug warrior, but he's stayed out, at least publicly, neutral in more of a states. It's not his preference that it would be legalized, but he seems to be on board with the states issue. And now we have a number of bills. Stop. We have a number of bills. Close that one. A number of bills coming out this week. One of which is a bipartisan bill by Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
The Marijuana Justice Act came out, and we were all wondering why Tulsi Gabbard was not on the co-sponsoring.
She did last session.
Which she did last session. And not days later, she comes out with the press conference that she and Don Young are co-sponsoring 2 bills. One removing cannabis from the Controlled Substances Act, and the other, and leaving it up to the states for legalization, and the other a data collection for research purposes, which she has brought up before. The new one being the first part of that, the ending federal marijuana prohibition. What I think should be called the Trump Act.
Yes.
Totally removing unjust marijuana prohibition act. The Trump Act. We talked about this last week, and then here's this Observer story coming out. What are the Democrats going to... What do you think? What do you think the Democrats are going to do when Donald Trump comes out and says, whether he's lying or just saying it for political reasons, because he was obviously, he's going to be saying it. He's going to be agreeing with the last person that's in the room. And if there's a microphone on it, and it happens to be Cory Gardner or Don Young,
we should send them nice notes and let them know. That's what they should be. Should be the last person in the room.
That might go on. He might go on the record, and then that's going to be in quite a few news cycles, I would say. And here's this bill. Here's this bill introduced by a bipartisan duo. That is pretty common sense bill. So I found that to be very interesting this week. That it's being postulated in the Trump zone. In the Trump zone.
It's amazing.
I wouldn't be surprised if it showed up on Fox and Friends.
I wrote him a nice note.
Soon. Oh, yay.
I wrote him a nice note.
You did?
I did. I wrote him a nice note.
The Donald?
Yeah, the Donald.
Nice.
Mr. President.
Oh.
President Trump. And I wrote a bunch of other notes to the FDA. Here's my FDA note.
You're not pooping on his star?
There's my FDA note. I want cannabis off the Schedule 1. I'll write a note. Here's one to Jimmy Gomez. Right? That's my representative. Here's the one to Senator Feinstein, who I wish would quit. Here's one to Senator Harris. And here's one to Tulsi Gabbard because, she's so cool. And she introduced those bills last week, so I wanted to send her a thank you note.
Thank you notes to Tulsi and keeping it in the eyes of the... And
because of all the Jew talk this week, I used my Hanukkah stamps. I'm Jewish, I can say Jew. Just so we're clear. Technically. There was. You can't say anything because you're not at all.
You notice I haven't said
You're
a word.
just laughing and turning red and speechless, which is so weird.
Like many things, by marriage, I claim ally.
Yes.
How's that? I claim ally.
I say you're an ally. You are an ally. Good job.
RBU.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for directing me to Rogan's interview with Paul Stamets. It was amazing.
Yes.
I wonder whether you're on psilocybin. It would explain why you're smart. Upstate Radio says we should write to Chelsea. Yeah, that might be interesting.
Yeah. Send
Chelsea
her a nice note.
Convincing. Robert, I'm not RBU. I'm not dodging your question.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
Hello, Veterans Cannabis Advocacy Group.
Let's just say his stack is whack. The Stamets stack is whack.
You don't like
I'll leave
his
it at
stack?
that. No, it's whack. That's good.
Oh, it is?
I'm saying it's good.
Oh, sorry.
The Stamets stack is whack.
All right. Whack is
and
good.
if you
I
check
thought
out
whack
that
was
interview,
bad.
you'll know what that is. I don't know. I'm using it in some in an alliteration and tone that is whack bad? I don't know. Is whack bad? Maybe whack is bad.
Could some of the youngsters in the chat tell us
if whack is good
if
or
we're
bad?
using whack in the right way?
DK as well. Either way, as long as it's off the conspiracy, he's just bluffing. There's no way. Only Ron Wyden would be on the case.
Well, DK Gaming GoPro 64. I don't think it's coming off the Controlled Substances Act in the next 60 days. Soon, hopefully. There are acts being introduced, but they're just being introduced. They still have to be heard in committee and then pass out of committee and then be heard on the whole floor. But that's why we wrote nice notes to all these people.
The President of the United States can use the bully pulpit.
It's true. The President of the United States
pot pit
can make things go faster.
Whack is bad. Okay, sorry. Thank you. I stand corrected. Chela was right.
Thank you.
She's got a decade on me, so whack is bad. Okay.
Believe me.
All right. The Stemmet stack is
lit.
It's good.
Lit. Good.
Crack is whack. Okay. Thank you.
I love you guys. Thanks so much.
I don't know if that's why I'm so smart. I did mushrooms at the Renaissance Fair. We were talking about the Slow News Day. We were talking about doing time at the Renaissance Pleasure Fair.
Yes.
I did time one summer. I had an amazing. It was one of the most amazing summers of my life. When I was, I think I was 19 at the Renaissance Fair. I spent a summer there as an actor. Did a lot of mushrooms. Drank a lot of beer that I never paid for. It was given by. Would you put there's a fly in me cup? Would you drown it, sir? I'm so parched. Oh yeah, I got lots of beer when I was 19 at the Renaissance.
Parched. Hey, Laura P. is saying that even Alabama has Bill 96.
I saw that. That's phenomenal.
You did?
No, I saw what Laura P. said.
Oh, okay. Decriminalizing making less than an ounce a non-criminal violation with a fine instead of jail time.
How'd I miss
That's
that
amazing.
One?
Yeah, we need more information.
I will investigate that during bring some information, because there's definitely nothing in the YouTube newses about that. We don't get a lot of television news about cannabis coming out of Alabama. A rare story. We do pick up some in the print media when there is stuff, so we'll investigate that a little bit. Thank you, Laura P.
Hey, Cannabis Sativa, good job writing your FDA note on the website.
Awesome.
We did too. I did that today.
We did. We were dragging our feet to the very last minute.
But we did it.
We did it. We made our. It is the very last minute, guys. You have until March 14th.
Yeah, you still have a few more days, but let's get to it.
The link is in the description to get over there to. You want to take a look at some? Do you want to read yours? Yours is pretty long, right?
No. Mine is short. I just have to get to the drive to find it.
All right. Well, let's talk.
I closed it.
Let's talk about a couple of more news pieces in the.
Yes.
In the Chronicle.
Please.
Of course, it is. Everybody's picking up on the pot primary. 2020 Dem candidates flaunt weed bona fides.
Some of you longtime listeners might remember that we've been saying that it was going to be Cannabis 2020. You might have said that earlier.
Yeah, we might have said that earlier. And everybody got so excited that Beto is calling for federal cannabis legalization.
Oy vey.
How bold, Beto.
Beto, focus on Texas. Get that shit straight.
Beto's so bold. Beto's so Bernie.
Oh, yeah, that's your favorite phrase.
That's what I said
I know
this
you like
week
that.
when Beto came out for,
totally.
I don't know, we should legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
This guy's been saying it for a while, and the video of him on the Breakfast Club is up on the channel. You can watch that. I'll play it in the afterburn, but I'm not going to do it here in the first hour, because you know why. Because we like to talk. But we'll listen to Bernie on the Breakfast Club. And you know who else was on the Breakfast Club this week? Was Andrew Yang. We were talking about him last week, and we want to see him on the stage. And of course, he is for legalization, and a very interesting thing to do on 420. He said he would immediately release all nonviolent drug offenders on 420. Well, not immediately. On 420. 2021.
Pardon.
He would pardon all low-level, non-violent drug offenders.
Pretty great.
So I'm assuming that includes cannabis. So that would be
yeah.
So I like that. It's bold. That's a bold stance to take. And he's going to be on the debate stage. He may not go much further than that, but I want to see the other candidates address that, as well as the freedom dividend, which he describes really well in that Breakfast Club interview. It's really good if you watch the whole thing. Go ahead.
I would push back on the low level aspect.
Of what?
of his stance on who he's going to release on 420. Because I think he said under an ounce, if I recall correctly, on the Breakfast Club.
Oh, really?
Because I think he said under an ounce and then said low level. Because I read another article today that actually pointed out that, you know, it's ridiculous that the quantifying under an ounce or a lot, when now, you know, MedMen's going to come in and make a shit ton of money on pushing a lot of cannabis when these guys are in jail for doing the same exact thing.
Right.
So, you know, I think all of it needs to be looked at. I think that Truth and Reconciliation Commission idea should be expanded to a lot of things, you know?
Well, that can be part of it. I mean, it could be if that becomes a real conversation here in America. That can be a part of it, because of the drug war certainly is, and prohibition certainly is related to racism. Oh, jackpot! So cute. He's literally so just cute. Put his head up above your shoulder. He's so cute. I get squirreled really easy, especially with the dogs. But let's see. All cannabis-related offenses should be pardoned. Yes, it should be. Should be tomatoes. Did you know that tomatoes weren't always tomatoes?
Yeah, that was a really interesting thing.
They were once known as wolf peaches.
Yeah, Sir, Sima Hernandez has texted us. Beto can go away. Yeah, I'm sorry, but just sit down.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, no, and Biden can relax too. He needs to just
they need to forget
with
about
his family
all that nonsense.
And you see him scolding everybody on stage from somebody. You kids, quit your whining! Quit your whining! Looks like he's the grandpa on the porch. Oh, and he wrote the Patriot Act.
Biden
came out today.
Yeah,
in 1996.
If you're paying attention,
he wrote the Patriot Act.
You're paying attention.
Sat in the drawer until the exact time it was needed.
Yeah, just like you do.
And they pulled it out and dusted it off, just like an old screenplay.
So you were gonna say the FDA comments.
The
FDA comments.
You continue, and I will
pull them up.
Yeah, I'll pull them up. You want to read one?
Yeah. Of the 1,378 comments, probably the 1,377th or 8th is mine.
Oops.
And I tried to keep it short and brief because I'm imagining they have, you know, thousands of comments. So, dear all concerned at the FDA, the cannabis plant has been used as medicine for thousands of years until the misguided U.S. federal marijuana prohibition. In California, we have been legally using cannabis medicine since the mid-1990s. The endocannabinoid system was discovered in the mid-1980s, yet is still not taught in U.S. medical schools. It's time to move forward with descheduling this medicinal herb. My mother lived with dementia for 9 years before dying 2/1/2019 of complications from Alzheimer's disease after living crumpled and contracted in the bed for years. We must be willing to look in areas previously forbidden to find breakthroughs for our biggest looming crisis, dementia and other brain disease. I've included some recent articles for the record. They are both Dr. Ethan Russo explaining the medical benefits of this plant, specifically for neurological issues which confound medical science. We ask that you completely deschedule cannabis and allow people to grow this plant for themselves if they wish, as well as lift all restrictions on the research and study of this plant and all its derivatives and extracts. Looking forward, Chela. Blah, blah.
Nice.
And then I have my Forbes. I did the Forbes excerpt and the excerpt from Integrative Neuroscience. They wouldn't allow the links in the comment. I couldn't figure out how to attach them, but they're there. So I just gave something, and I'll probably do another comment on another aspect of it. So,
right. Yeah, you've got we've got until the 14th to make additional comments.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, they are on. They're on a. The last one is the 8th, so they're a little behind. It's probably Monday. They're going to update everything that came in over the weekend. It's RBU. Saw on my Twitter feed a video of police called hospital ward in Missouri because a man suffering with stage 4 cancer was taking cannabis capsules to ease his pain instead of opioids. Yep, and we got it for you.
That happened.
That happened, and we're going to show that video of what Cop's Gonna Cop. And they can totally choose what they want to enforce.
Yeah.
They did not have to do that.
No.
This doing my job bullshit is
No.
ridiculous. That definitely went around the internet pretty quick, and we'll take a look at what that's all about. Pretty disturbing, actually. Arrests are up, and apparently so are rousings of cancer patients in Missouri, where they just legalized medical cannabis, but it's not on the books yet. So there you go. Well, I'm going to read mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then maybe we'll pull out a couple. Let's see if that psilocybin helped. With lawmakers or citizens in 47 states having legalized some form of medicinal cannabis, from CBD-only laws to full-flower, smokable plant medicine, along with the mountains of scientific evidence conducted around the world, and in some rare cases the United States, proving the medical efficacy of the cannabis plant and its derivatives, there is no argument for cannabis, aka marijuana, to be on the Controlled Substances Act, and in particular on Schedule 1 with heroin. 0 deaths from cannabis, according to the DEA, and thousands of years of evidence. And despite the ongoing reefer madness, cannabis is now known to be a gateway to wellness and a life-saving medicine for veterans, children, and seniors, all of them under threat of prosecution by federal authorities at any time. Cannabis is the solution to the opioid crisis created by the Sackler family and Purdue Pharma, currently seeking bankruptcy protection to protect the profits they make by killing 100 people a day in America. NBC News, March 4th. Oxycontin maker Purdue Pharma, exploring bankruptcy filing for Chapter 11 protection, would halt the thousands of lawsuits alleging the drug manufacturer used deceptive practices to push addictive drugs that led to fatal overdoses. Internationally, dozens of countries have begun to implement medical cannabis imports and exports within the EU, Middle East, Central America, Mexico, and of course Canada. It is imperative the U.S. itself deschedule cannabis and recommend to the UN to fully deschedule cannabis. America can then lead the globe in cannabis medicine research and revitalize our economy and the health of our nation.
Yes, deschedule, yes.
So that was my...
Yay, Dave.
Took my mushrooms, sparked up a joint, and went free flow with them.
Good, it's all good. Good
my
stuff.
lion's mane, of course. My lion's mane and turkey tail and my Stemmet 7.
Yeah, the Stemmet 7 stack. Your lit Stemmet 7 stack.
Cold, warm.
Now I'm comfortable with the door closed.
Okay, excellent. All right, guys. So we have one person in the chat that did a comment to the
At
FDA.
least 2. Cannabis Sativa, I think, said.
All right, awesome.
And
awesome. You can make it
Laura
short.
P. also said
long.
she did.
Let's flood them over the next couple of days. I'm going to drop a couple of more. What else, Laura? Lots of anything. Is there anything popping out in the chat?
There's a lot of talk about politics.
Politics. Politics.
Biden and what a sucky person he is. I said fuck Biden. I think I pretty much stopped it. But Tulsi is up. Tulsi is talking.
Tulsi's what time?
I'll never forgive Biden for Anita Hill. So really, there's no fucking starting with him. And Tulsi's up. She's talking, doing the thing. So what can I say? We have some Tulsi video coming up in the afterburn. Let's talk about a couple articles that were really cool.
Let's do that. Continuing on through, so we already know Vox, even, marijuana legalization is a winning 2020 for Democratic primaries.
Totally.
Cannabis wins. Although Corey is just he's not even getting close to showing up on any polls. And did you see that the Daily Kos says their straw poll last week was, oops, they made a mistake. They let it so Bernie supporters could cheat.
What?
And apparently a lot of them did.
Oh, they double voted?
They didn't click a switch, and they're saying that, oh, well, people could vote from other computers and anonymous places. And anyway, they're just backtracking on this 55%. I said it's going to be fun to see the next one when he's over 70.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I said 65 or something, but it's going to be over. But Cannabis, and he's on, of course, Bernie is burning. Bernie burns a few times. He smoked a few times.
Coughed his brains out.
And, it wasn't for me. Okay. But yeah, speaking of Tulsi, last minute edition of the Chronicle is Tom Angel talking to writing in Forbes. For Tulsi Gabbard, marijuana sits at nexus of good policy and smart politics. He was saying he was going to interview her, and there is that interview in Forbes talking about the bills that she just introduced that you saw live press conference here on Reefer Revolution Live. Also, this report came out this week from Leafly. Very interesting report about the jobs that are being created in cannabis. As of 2019, already over 200,000 full-time jobs in America, somewhere in the cannabis industry, and many more to come. Big report there, done by Leafly. Fun thing to look at over there, and lots of good news. Hundreds of percent up in many states. Meanwhile, legal cannabis having its, as I said, problems here in Los Angeles. The city council on, I believe it was Thursday, it was Thursday, I think, met and discussed a couple of items. Friday. Couple of items on the agenda, one of which allows the shutting off of power to illegal pot shops. This apparently is something on the agenda that was brought up and talked about by the legal cannabis industry, saying, hey, why don't you just turn off their lights? They can't grow weed if there's no lights in Los Angeles, because that's all they can do in Los Angeles, and then they can't sell, and the door again. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to find ways to turn off the power to these illegal shops that are plaguing the city, despite the fact they can't bother to put out any licenses. Barely 200 licenses have been issued, and they can't get the equity program going. And now they're opening it up to other people. I'm betting that those guys that are like, hey, we're ready to go, these outside players are going to be, oh, we're ready. They're going to fast track those licenses. That's my next guess. That's my prediction. So
that would be terrible.
They're going to shut off the power to the players that are not playing ball and or can't get in, don't have the resources or the political connections to get into the system, and they're just turn off their power. The other thing they're going to do is allow these special interest players, outside players, into the city.
Jesus, you're so doom and gloom, Dave.
Listen, they've got to make sure they've got enough legal cannabis here in California for the summer. So, no, this is the way it works across the country. Missouri this week, lawmakers.
LA is different. LA can be different.
Immediately trying to change what the voters did in Missouri. They're trying to put it in the ballot to rescind the law they just passed on the next ballot. We've seen the home grow, New Mexico, big story this week in New Mexico, guys. Are they going to be the next to legalize recreational?
Tyrants.
But guess what? You're not going to be able to grow your own unless you can prove it's for medicinal, is I guess what they worked out. But yeah.
And buy it from the state.
Rules and buy it from the state.
Tyrants.
State run. What do they think they are? Canada?
Alexis Bortel tweeted about this.
Yes. State, soul, and papers. And show your papers.
Ridiculous.
So keep your
you have to keep your receipt.
Keep your receipt from your government weed.
Ridiculous.
What if you are a medical patient and you grow your own and carry it around?
Crazy.
You don't have a receipt.
Crazy.
And I know they're
going to shake down more medical patients.
The drug recognition expert trainer in California didn't know of such thing as tinctures. And they're going to be able to tell the difference between medical cannabis and non-medical cannabis, because we all know it's easy. You just look at a plant, you can tell. You know which one's medical.
One has a red cross on it, right? Or green cross on it.
They have a green cross on the stem. It runs all the way up and down the stem.
Yeah. It's embedded in the DNA.
So
Oy vey.
That's what maybe blockchain. They'll figure out a way to do that. They're messing with the will of the people. There it is.
So write nice notes.
Missouri lawmakers want voters to repeal medical marijuana in the next election.
Ridiculous.
Meanwhile, this
nice.
is a great opinion piece in the Inquirer out of Philly, of course, we know that the former WWF star and currently Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania is doing a listening tour.
I don't think he's really a WWF star.
Yes, Longnecker. You've never heard of...
He's terrific on his listening tour.
Oh, Longnecker. No, he was... I'm sorry, he's not Longnecker. Never mind. That's not his name. Who is it that's doing this?
This is the Lieutenant Governor. The Lieutenant Governor.
His name escapes me. But
he's the Lieutenant Governor.
He didn't write this opinion. This is written by Danielle Corcione in the Inquirer. And what you read this, Chela? What did it? Basically, it says what we all have been saying.
It's really good. We gotta have home grow.
Yeah.
You have to have home grow, tyranny, all kinds of great reasons.
And the one thing that that you mentioned in this that opinion piece, that he said that if you look at Colorado, home grow has not affected sales at all.
No problem.
Because that's one of the arguments for, we're not going to get our tax money if people aren't buying it in the stores, in the government stores in New Mexico. So we can't let people grow that stuff. They got to be able to buy the government weed. So no, it doesn't affect that. Let people grow their cannabis. It'll stop the black market. It'll slow down the black market if people can grow their own.
Traditional market.
So
traditional market.
Good opinion piece.
Traditional market growers, as some of you may be aware, aren't exactly excited for tomatoes. You know, traditional market growers that I've spoken to in the past have said, no, I'm not excited for tomatoes. I don't want it to be tomatoes. I want there to still be regulation because then I still have a job. If it's tomatoes and literally anybody can grow it with no risk, then everybody would grow it. So it's a very interesting time.
People can grow tomatoes, and for some reason, people are still able to sell tomatoes everywhere.
I still have a caprese salad. I still eat tomato soup when I'm out. You know, I still enjoy tomatoes elsewhere, even if I might grow tomatoes at home. But we have a black thumb, so we don't really grow tomatoes.
I didn't have I had some success with some vegetables, but we're gonna be exploring that. We're gonna be getting better at that. It's spring after all. We have to plant something.
Yeah, we're gonna plant some stuff.
We have to plant something somewhere. Might as well be cannabis.
Yeah.
Might as well be cannabis. So yeah, there you go. We're New Mexico, close to recreational cannabis, but it's not going to let you grow it. Make sure you're going to buy that government weed, show your papers, and destroy your plants.
Veterans Cannabis Advocacy Group says, to the technocrats, only tobacco and alcohol are legal poisonings. All else is a criminal mafia as they write corrupted laws in thief favorite players.
Bernie was laughing about that. It's like, we were demonizing this part. Oh, they're making zillions. They're going to make zillions.
Zillions on the Breakfast Club.
On the Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. You'll see that in the afterburn. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But, the hypocrisy is rampant.
Well, we have to keep sending the nice notes to all the people. Send your notes.
Accentuate the positive.
Focus on what you want to see in the world.
There you go. Nice.
Well and make sure that you send the notes and do what you need to do to get the relief that you need for your life.
Well, what I want to see in the world, and there's a retired state trooper that agrees with me, is a tax moratorium on new cannabis sales. That's what they should do. If they're going to do a federal law, there should be no federal tax, at least for a while. If at all, there shouldn't be at all. But lower tax is better. And there's a article in Pricenomics. Which states have the highest taxes on marijuana? Which do you think, Chela, has the highest tax on marijuana? Any guesses in the chat?
Yeah. Any guesses in the chat? Who's got the highest tax?
We know. We're talking state tax. We're talking state tax here. We're not talking local taxes. So let's see. Drum roll. State of Washington by a long shot. I seem to remember that.
But all of us West Coasters, we all pay a lot of money.
37% tax in the state of Washington.
That's a lot, dude.
Oregon 17, California 15, Colorado 15.
They must have a very thriving traditional market in Washington.
Look at Alaska. Wow. 0 tax.
Wow.
State of Alaska.
Wow, Alaska.
Washington State. That's right. Cannabis sativa. Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
Nevada, kind of low on the bar there. Still 10%. Alaska, 0%. Jeez, how do they do it? That Alaskan thunderfuck must be going all across the country, being sold all illegally, all everywhere.
Yeah, amazing.
0%. How do they do it? Don Young, the largest cannabis caucus in Congress. Tell us about your 0% cannabis tax in the state of Alaska.
Help us out.
Where freedom reigns, apparently, and you get universal basic income of $1,000 to $2,000 a month from the oil industry. Actually, a dividend from the oil industry. How intriguing! Intriguing.
Wild, huh?
Alaska. Wow, that's wild. Meanwhile, yes, the bills just keep churning. You name the state. California, biggest state. California, lots of bills. We talked about a couple of them here on the show. I mentioned one during this week. We talked about AB 1710.
Yep.
AB 1710 is a good one here in California.
Yep.
Trying to expand or develop laws to support small cannabis businesses.
Yep. And the compassion one also I like.
The compassion one is good.
Mm-hmm.
The one that is no so good, that Weed for Warrior Projects pointed out this week. We all know Prop 64. Love this meme. Intended consequences. With tax revenue and profit going to the unholy alliance of corporate and government, and patients getting drips of medicine, really. Basically it's AB 1530, which is trying to eliminate delivery. We just fixed it.
Cooley, the guy who wrote that, is super anti-cannabis, it seems, because all the things that he writes is all to screw people who are involved in cannabis. So really, I think, excuse me, pardon me, I think the thing is to find someone to run against him and get him right the hell out of there. He does not need to be in the California Assembly. He's got to go.
Ken Cooley is who we're talking about, Assembly member.
Got to go.
Bye. So they're basically, I'm just going to quote, I'm sure, I think it's Sean that probably wrote this, Weed for Warriors. I'll bring it up. There's something awfully pervasive about pricing patients out of the legal market or shutting down legal access in their community, then criminalizing them for making the rational and moral decision for themselves and their families. This is immoral and nothing more than an attempt to put an already disgusting war on the poor and disenfranchised into high gear. Leadership MIA Assembly Member Ken Cooley, what the hell are you thinking? Because no one is taking ownership of this bill, which should tell us everything we need to know. Indeed. So AB 1530, we don't want that to pass in our assembly here in California.
Cooley's got to go.
And Cooley got to go.
They got to find somebody to run against him.
One bill that did advance for medical marijuana in Kentucky in the South, and we're going to see some video in the afterburn about this bill, but medical marijuana bill advancing in committee in Kentucky, as well as other places. Some of the other states, every state, you name the state, folks, and it's happening. Chela pointed out that Hawaii is working on expanding their medical marijuana program to visitors. Where did it go?
Well, you can't lose your tourist revenue. That's a problem. And they don't want people smuggling cannabis over there. They want people buying it locally, of course.
Well,
but not Roz Baker. Roz Baker doesn't want people buying it locally.
Yes. Roz Baker does not like marijuana.
Roz Baker's the one who stopped recreational cannabis from moving forward in Hawaii. She should go too. She should be voted out. That's our feeling. Wine needs to do that, though.
Oh, and this one, Chela, this that's
and I love that story.
That's an older story.
It's not that old.
It's not that old, and we just found it.
I love this story. I printed it out and I put it in my book. It's part of my life now.
In Forbes, Abby Rosner writing about cannabis in Forbes as well.
Abby Rosner, I think, is one of my new favorite people.
And this is about a nursing home where? In
New York.
In New York. This is one of the
It's the Hebrew home.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
It's a 750-bed place that allows medical cannabis for their residents. My beef with it, of course, is that, dementia patients get left behind. So, because the residents have to administer it themselves, but they allow it on their campus, and that's pretty remarkable. It is pretty much thumbing their nose at federal law. But I love that they're doing it. They're being really bold about it. They're fighting and advocating for the residents, and that's awesome. Love that. Love.
Looks like the CEO of the Hebrew Home said the residents of the Hebrew Home are citizens of the state of New York and are entitled to the benefits thereof. And one of those benefits is to be able to use medical cannabis in the same way that a citizen of New York would be able to if they didn't live in the Hebrew Home. Why should we be discriminating against residents of the Hebrew Home because they live in a facility? He continues,
because they live in a facility.
They live in a facility. I feel that we have an obligation to protect and enforce the rights of residents in long-term care.
Yes.
And this is one of those rights.
Yes.
Oh, very good, sir.
I love it. I'm going to send him a nice note this week, too, on the Instagram or something. I need to post there. Oh, you guys with the socials. I.
Well, Chela, that about wraps up our first hour discussing the news in the Cannabis Chronicle. You can find all those stories over at dc420la.com. In one of the sections, that story on nursing home is under cannabis care. But you'll find a bunch of stories about all the states. Oklahoma, 7.2 million in their first, the first month? No, it's since November, right? Oh no, that was Michigan. It's November. 42 million, 7.2 million Oklahoma, $1 million in the first month in Ohio. It's the money's everywhere. The cannabis cash is rolling in across the country. The politics of pot is popping in Washington and in all the state houses. Cannabis 2019, Cannabis 2020. It's going to be all talk about cannabis for the next 2 years. And what's going to happen when Donald Trump starts talking about it? He's going to want to talk about something else. I can almost guarantee it. Because one of the stories that did on Marijuana Moment picked up this week, it was all of the senators that basically said, how does Manafort get 4 years? And all of these people are being locked up for life. Fate. Fate, what's his last name? The movie is called Fate. Winslow. Fate Winslow. Doing life, a homeless man doing life for selling 2 dime bags of cannabis for $20. And Manafort gets 4 years. So, cannabis is going to be being talked about, and the president's going to have to address it. He's been not negative against cannabis. He seems to be open to the flower. So take that for what you will, but you heard it first here on Reefer Revolution Live several months ago, and we said this was going to be the issue for Cannabis for 2020 and in 2019 across this country as more states will be legalizing cannabis in some form. Who knows? Maybe it'll end up being 50 states before we know it with some form of CBD law, or all the way to full legalization and green rush, recreational tax and regulate schemes. But definitely things are changing. It's hot. It's a hot topic. It's the #1 issue that goes across all political scopes, folks.
Yep.
Everybody comes together on cannabis.
True story.
And we come together every Sunday at 4:20. Make sure you subscribe, get notifications. Don't go anywhere in the chat. We will be right back. We're gonna rev it up for the afterburn. We're gonna get a little drink, wet our palate, get some snacks ready, rev up the videos, getting all set. We're gonna start.
Smoke break.
National block. Take a little smoke break. I think that's a
Step
great
outside.
idea.
Go to the restroom. Get some snacks.
I'll put on a little music.
Yes, put on some music. Yes, please. No dead air.
All right, and we'll be right back, folks. This is Reefer Revolution Live. We'll see you in a few.
Thank you.
Free the plant, free the people. Pot for peace. Be right back.